From Stormbreaker 6, this is Forecast First, sponsored by Auto Owners Insurance. Simple human sense.
Outside on the Hillsdale camera, we have great visibility, but we also are still seeing a bit of a breeze, so that wind is preventing us from having any fog forming. Wind speeds have gusted to over 30 miles an hour in Hillsdale this morning. Temperatures are in the 40s, and that means there's a wind chill. Our winds are going to be gusting for the morning, even past sunrise, which is at 8:13. Sunset at 6:30 gives us over 10 hours of daylight, but those times will be changing as we get out of daylight saving time. We'll be talking more about that coming up as 6 News This Morning continues.
WLNS is here for you with 6 News This Morning.
Good morning and happy Friday. Today is November 1st. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Megan Vaselli. Jorma has the morning off. 6 News is here for you now with this morning's top stories. 6 News is your local election headquarters. We have the results of an exclusive campaign survey for you now, showing Democratic presidential nominee Kamala Harris has a slight lead in Michigan over her Republican rival, Donald Trump. This election cycle is costing both parties millions of dollars in advertising and other expenses as they work to get their message to potential voters while also making sure their supporters actually show up to vote. Now, the EPIC MRA poll of 600 people was conducted October 24th through the 28th. It shows VP Harris is ahead of former President Trump 48 to 45% in Michigan, a key swing state in the race for the White House. But with a margin of error of plus or minus 4%, the race remains a virtual tie with just a few days left before Election Day. You can check out our exclusive poll results on our website, WLNS.com, or on our free 6 News app. Well, economic issues continue to be key talking points for both presidential candidates. Meanwhile, each one will make their final stops in Michigan ahead of Election Day on Tuesday. Former President Donald Trump will be here today. He's scheduled to speak at Macomb Community College in Warren. And according to the Detroit News, he'll also swing through Dearborn. Now, the city has a predominantly Arab American population, a group Mr. Trump continues to seek endorsements from. He vows that if elected, he'd bring a swift end to the war in Gaza, which has spread to other nearby countries. On the other side of the ticket, Vice President Kamala Harris is set to make her final 3 stops in Michigan on Sunday, the last day of early in-person voting. Her campaign says she'll attend events in Detroit and Pontiac, as well as hold a political rally right here in East Lansing at Michigan State University. Both vice presidential nominees also will make stops in our state ahead of Election Day. Ohio U.S. Senator J.D. Vance will speak at Kalamazoo Battle Creek International Airport today in Portage. Meanwhile, Minnesota Governor Tim Walz continues his 2-day trip to Michigan. He campaigned in Detroit last night, and today he'll be at rallies in Flint and Traverse City. We're told earlier this week he also pre-recorded a segment for The Late Show with Stephen Colbert, which will air right here on WLNS TV on Monday night. Be sure to stay with 6 News for all things election related, both leading up to Tuesday and after the results start coming in that night. You can find the latest on our website, WLNS.com, by clicking on the Election Headquarters tab on our homepage. Some local religious groups plan to gather next week to offer prayers for peace and unity as this election season wraps up. East Lansing's People's Church will open its doors Monday night for a special service. It starts at 7 at the church on West Grand River Avenue near Michigan State's campus. Organizers say everyone is welcome whether or not you align with their faith. This is one of many prayer services happening around the country Monday night. Before you head to bed Sunday night, don't forget we'll be gaining an hour with the end of daylight saving time. Your smartphone will do it for you, but make sure to double check your oven, microwave, car, and wall clocks because at 2 o'clock Sunday morning, we are falling back an hour. The end of daylight saving time also means we'll see the skies darken much earlier. But of course, the good news is we get that extra hour of sleep. Daylight saving time dates back to the early 1900s, and now Hawaii and parts of Arizona are the only places in the U.S. that don't participate. Well, if you've been tuning in, you know that hunger is a major issue throughout the U.S., including right here in mid-Michigan. So today, the Greater Lansing Food Bank is inviting you to help address this issue. The organization is hosting its 34th annual Empty Bowls event. Guests receive a custom-made bowl and soup lunch, which organizers say symbolizes how even humble meals can have transformative impacts when shared with friends and neighbors. The money raised will benefit the food bank's efforts to feed those in need right here in our community. The lunch runs from 11 to 1:30 at Edmonds on East Michigan Avenue, and you can buy tickets at the door.
From Storm Tracker 6, this is Weather on the Sixes, sponsored by Auto Owners Insurance. Simple human sense.
In Lansing this morning, it's still windy, but it's colder than yesterday morning at this time. We've dropped our temperatures by about 20 degrees compared to 24 hours ago, and we aren't the only ones. Across the nation, we're dealing with chilly temperatures following a cold front that has swept on through, giving us some rain on Halloween, just not during trick-or-treating time. It's dry this morning in Lansing, just like it was last night. And for anyone who was hoping to have that 70-degree air stick around, I'm dashing those hopes. We're going to have temperatures today that only make it to 50 degrees at best. And with it, yeah, it's still windy. We're going to have wind chills this morning that feel like they're in the 30s, even though temperatures are in the 40s. You typically have to shave off around 5 to 10 degrees when you factor in that feels like temperature. Exposed skin, like this, is definitely going to have more of a chill effect than if you had a coat on. So if you're heading out to the school bus stop, for example, bundle up. We're going to have these cooler conditions stick around into tonight as well. Temperatures dropping down to as low as 30 degrees tonight. So wind chills possibly are going to be worse tomorrow morning than what we're seeing outside this morning. Now, if you squint on the Capitol cam, you can see the flags are still flying in a bit of a breeze. That wind is just gusty because we're so close to the center of low pressure. That low pressure system is moving out though, so the farther it gets away from us, the less wind we're going to have to deal with. Now, when we look at our temperature map here, you're going to see that cold air is being funneled in from Canada. So our wind direction is coming in from the northwest. With time, it's going to continue to move on towards the east coast, and eventually warmer air will push its way back in. It's just the ebb and flow of our temperatures as we go from summer into winter, and that's what we call fall.
It happens. All right, Katie, thank you so much. Coming up, we've got not morning sports. Coming up, we are going to have our What's on the Web segment, where you will find out how local police are going to be making sure Election Day is safe for our mid-Michigan communities. Your time, 6:38. Thank you so much for starting your day with 6 News this morning.